how to get out of the human mind. That was one of the questions we received from our YouTube viewers. The question went thus. It was a viewer was asking for suggestions for getting out of the human mind. And is the human mind equal to ego? Well, it's a very, first of all, I want to thank the viewer for asking this question. That's a very pertinent question, especially when it comes to do with the mind. I love that aspect of personal development. And the best way I will attempt to answer this question will be in two ways. I want first for you to come along with me and imagine for a moment that right here in front of me is a table, and on top of that table is this big glass jug, and the glass jug is sitting right on top of the table, and the glass jug has a kind of a hollow inside, and the neck is narrow. It has a narrow neck, hollow bottom, and it's about 1 inch thick, and it's sitting on this table right in front of me. I hope you can picture that. Now let's take it one more step further. Imagine that there is a goose inside that jug right now. Now what I want you to do, well, first of all, just to recap, that we have this big glass jug. It has a narrow neck and a hollow bottom, 1 inch thick, and sitting on right on the table right in front of me. And inside this glass jug is a goose. So what I want you to help me to do is to get that goose out of this glass jug. So that's the goal. But you can't break the glass jug, because if you break that glass jug, you're gonna hurt the goose. And also, let's remember that it has a narrow neck, and if you try to pull the goose through that narrow neck, it's gonna also probably kill or hurt the goose. So were you able to get the goose out of the glass jug? I'll give you a couple of seconds. Well, I don't know if you succeeded, because the first time I heard about this experiment, I struggled. Now you might want to know, was I able to get it out? Not really. But the way to get out the goose out of a glass jug is to imagine the goose out of the glass jug. Because the only way you got the goose into that glass jug in the first place is because you imagined that the goose was in the glass jug. I guess it's a kind of a funny experiment, but in truth, that is basically what this human mind is all about. We don't attempt to get out of the human mind. That is assuming that we're already assuming there is something to get out of in the first place. The only way you are in that human mind is because you imagine that you are there. And the effort in trying to get out of something that you are not in will lead to two things: frustration and disappointment. The same way the goose in the glass jug, trying to get it out, not knowing that you put him there in your imagination in the first place, and all effort, the physical effort of trying to get it out, leads to what? Frustration. And you might just break the glass in anger. But that's what it is in reality. We don't attempt to get out of the human mind. We don't ignore the fact that we are operating in this 3D dimension, but we don't make any effort to change anything. We only stay in the mind that we are. This mind is the dimensionless mind, spaceless mind, the mind of the infinite mind that we are. Next thing I want to do to answer this question is through Alfred Aiken's work. I just bought another work of Alfred Aiken called the, I hope it's showing clearly, the Bachelor God. And on page 101, Alfred Aiken actually talked about this thing we are talking about. So that's in chapter 6, Personal Mind. I'm going to read it. It goes first. In spite of all of the possibility that this will appear repetitious, it seems important to stress again the fact that there is no personal, no human or mind man at all. Over and over, this work points out that there is but one infinite, absolute individual intelligence, conscious awareness, mind, self, singleness, the unwed one being is omni-action. Whatever appears to be wed, married or connected, united or dependent, related or amalgamated is human, is a part of the picture of birth, death, cause, effect, start, stop, incline, decline, under or over, overproduction, lack, excess. None of these has any foundation in reality. Just what is this personal mind, you may ask. I disclaim any personal, any aching mind, because whatever appears to stem therefrom, or more accurately stated, whatever goes on within such mind is fraudulent, imposition, supposition, fiction, and is always, and let me repeat so there can be no foolish misunderstanding, always migrating graveward. In other words, the personal human mind, body-mind sense is a murderer from its will-be inception, for it abides not in truth. That is, it contains no truth. So what are we saying? There is nothing like the human mind to get out of. We do not deny what the race mind is trying to tell us, but what we do is to stay in the being that we truly are, the I that I am, the dimensional, spaceless being that we are. And as we stay in it, it will appear that over time, well, I don't really like using that time, but sometimes there's no way to describe something, right? We have to use that word to explain so that we can understand what we're saying. Over time, it will appear that we are getting out of something, but in truth, we are not getting out of anything. It's just that that so-called human mind has less hold on the being that we are. Now, what kind of suggestions can I offer to make sure that one stays in this truth? And as one stays in this truth, you will appear to be getting out of it, but like I said, in reality, there's nothing to get out of. The best way, I'll give a practical way to begin to practice living in the truth that we are. And it's all about seeing perfection everywhere, seeing truth where the so-called human mind is trying to reflect something different. What do I mean by that? Say, for example, I might be going along the road and I see somebody walking down the road with a walking stick. Now, I have a choice to perceive that person as so-called he is, because that is what the human mind is showing me. But because I understand who I am, I can make that conscious and deliberate choice to see that person differently, to create something different, to create something perfect. I can see that person all of a sudden saying, oh, just throw away the stick and say, wow, I'm free, I'm walking. Rather than see the person just limping along the road, I can make a conscious choice to see that person throwing away the walking stick and jumping and saying, I am free. Oh, I can walk along. I thought I couldn't walk. Well, then you might say, well, what does that mean? No, it doesn't mean anything. It's just that we are practicing living in the true being that we are, rather than seeing what the human mind projects. We don't deny what is showing us, but we are making a deliberate choice to paint a different picture of perfection, of wholeness. Now, I'll give another example, a practical example. These are things that one can start practicing. And the more we practice it, the more we build that inner being that we are. And the more the human mind has a lesser hold on us. One other example is, say for example, I'm watching the news on the TV, and on the news they depicting chaos, fighting, rioting and so on. In that moment, I can be sucked into it, caught in the drama. But if I say I know who I am as an infinite being that I am, and I'm not bothered about what the human mind is showing me, I can in that moment snap myself out of whatever I'm being shown and paint a different picture, and begin to see people just, rather than fighting, but they're just coming, hugging themselves, eye-finding themselves, smiling, as if they just finished. I don't know, that all along it's just been like they were shooting a movie. Initially it was like they were really fighting, but when everything was all over, everybody comes around and shaking their heads. Oh wow, we did a good job. Everybody was smiling and having a good time. So there was no real fighting there or nothing. So that is a deliberate, conscious and deliberate choice that I'm making. The mind, as I keep on doing that, the human mind begins to step aside. Let me repeat it. The more we practice and make those conscious choices to see perfection where there seems not to be perfection, the human mind will begin to allow the infinite mind to begin to reveal itself. And that is how the so-called human mind begins to lessen its hold on us, and we will not be caught in that drama, in that whatever the race mind depicts. And as we keep on making, it's a conscious and deliberate choice that one keeps on making. It's a daily way of being, as long as we say we are still operating in this so-called three-dimensional world. And as we begin to keep on practicing that, we begin to reveal the being that we are, which is dimensional, which lives in the fourth dimension, or you might even call it the nth dimension plane. And the beauty of this is that as we keep on practicing that, our world begins to kind of reshuffle itself. It's so beautiful to watch. It's so beautiful to experience. It is best experienced. Honestly, sometimes words cannot really explain the beauty of the one that lives in this way of life. Life begins to reshuffle itself. There is so much the human mind can see. The human mind is limited into kind of a finite dimension, but when we begin to live and practice, seeing perfection, we are tapping into that nth dimension, which is everywhere. It is dimension, it is everywhere. And one thing that can start happening is that we might, it's like when one is probably going to the store. Normally one meets, maybe there's a long queue. You go to the store, every time you go to the store, every time there's long queue, oh no. But then, strangely, you will be moved to go to the store at the right time, and it will be stress-free. You might be prompted when you are going on the road, rather than take this path, because that particular path will lead into maybe a traffic that will take forever to get to where you're going. But in an instant, an idea will just stream to the surface mind, telling you maybe just don't go yet, or take this route. It comes natural, and everything will seem seamless. So beautiful. Ease. That's what we're talking. And the way we keep on practicing this, the less we will be caught in that human mind. And it will appear that we are getting out of the human mind. But it's not how would I say, it's not with, like the goose in the glass jug. We're not trying to fight it. We're just knowing that it's not there in the first place. We imagine that it was there, and we take it out through imagining it's not there. And as we keep on living this way of life, we begin to build that inner self, the being that we are, the dimensional, spaceless being that we are. And life becomes peaceful. Life becomes restful. It's so joyous, honestly. So I would like to thank our viewer for asking this question. Being able to answer this question, to make a conscious choice to find an answer also helps me to build myself. And so in a way we interact together, building each other up. So I would encourage any other of our viewers, if you have a question, because this channel is all about stirring and inspiring people to live the true being that they are, to live truly on purpose. That is what this channel is all about. And I would encourage questions. There might be some area because like I said, I love the works of Alfred Aiken. I'm studying the Bachelor God. This is a new work I just bought, and I've been studying it. I find his work very insightful and very powerful. So if any of our viewers have any question around this work, I can do some research and come up with the answer. It's all about expanding our awareness, and the more we stay in the study, the more we grow in our awareness and to live a fuller, richer life. Thanks for watching, and I hope to get your comments or ideas. And if you do like this content, you can subscribe and hit the bell icon for notification of new videos that I release. Bye.